And welcome back to Stories from the River. This is your host, Charlie Malouf, in our on-location studio here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for our brand new series, Talking with GMs, General Managers, Project Nucleus. And I'm here with the famous, furniture famous, Bradley Sullivan. Bradley, welcome to the pod.
Thank you, Charlie.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
How long have you been at Broad River Retail?
I've been back now. This is my 9th month of my second tenure.
Second tenure,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
So you restarted when?
August 27, 2024.
August, 8/27, nearly.
Very close.
8/27, 2024. And Bradley, when did you start your first tenure?
8/28, 2019.
8/28, 2019. Why does that date ring a bell?
That was Purpose 8/28.
Purpose
The
8/28.
day that forever changed my life.
Would say more.
I had had a relationship with Michael Childers when he first opened the Cary store, which is in the market that I had created a couple of furniture stores. And we had developed a very good relationship competitively at first. And then finally, Michael was like, you got to be over here with us. And there was a recruitment process that started there. Mm-hmm. There was a couple of times where we got close. The Wilson store had opened. There was some things that could have happened there. Didn't happen. I was really committed to the businesses I was running. And then Christian Adams said, you know, man, we're having this event. It's called Purpose 8/28. And who knew that he was the best closer of us all? Because when I landed at that event, man, it was nothing like I had ever seen in my life. And it forever changed my life.
And so that was a great memory in Broad River Retail history, Purpose 8/28. Who spoke? Didn't we have some speakers come in?
Well, all I remember was you calling me out in the front row by name in front of like 80 people. It was crazy. I don't remember his name. There was...
Was it Inky Johnson?
I think it was I can't remember now, but there was so many. At that time, we had a lot of speakers.
Yeah, we had quite a few speakers.
I think it was Inky Johnson.
Maybe Joey Ryman, Inky Johnson.
I've seen both of them, so one of them was definitely that event.
Yeah, and and that was actually, I don't think you were actually working with us. That was your like day zero.
That was day zero. You invited me that night, told me you put me up in a hotel, and I said I have a truck at 5 a.m. At my stores. So I had to get back to Morrisville, North Carolina, and unload the truck in the morning because I was hands-on.
So you left that night, you didn't take us up on the offer, did you?
I did, I accepted. We stood up and shook hands over tacos, if you remember.
No, I remember you, no, I meant you didn't take us up on our offer to get the hotel room.
Oh, no, I had to get back. I had to get back to work. That's right.
And you said you said it real fast, but so people, it's not Mooresville, but Morrisville.
That's right.
Because you were in the Raleigh area.
That's right, yes,
so you have to get back. So yeah, so at the end of Purpose 8/28, we sat there and had tacos and had dinner, me, you, and Manny. And thank you, Christian and Michael Childers, for the connection there. So then you started, I guess, maybe sometime shortly thereafter.
Yeah, it was. It would have been the third week of September.
Okay.
To follow.
And this is 2019, and so you started as an AGM, an associate general manager, correct?
We called it RPM in those days.
Oh, okay, RPM.
But yeah, with Michael.
Okay, which is kind of like an MIT program.
Yeah.
And you were in that role at Cary for how long?
Well, it was supposed to be up until November 1st, but if we know Michael Childers, he wanted me there for November. And if you well remember, we also had a big tussle going with another GM to win Yoda. So we stayed for November. I stayed there with the Cary Crushers, and we did win the 2019 November Yoda.
Okay, and then so December, did you get your own store?
December 1st, I went to Bull City. You remember?
Yeah, Bulls. Hey, let's see it.
You were there.
The Bull City. Okay. So this will be a fun conversation. And so you started at Bull City December of 19, and you were there for how long?
Yes, sir. I was there for 13 months.
13 months. So through all of 2020.
Yes, sir.
COVID.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wow. Did you take a break during the COVID break?
Yeah, we had the furlough for 30 days.
Okay.
So my whole staff, all furloughed down to the last person. I'll never forget just being in the empty store. I actually had a conversation with you after that. There was nobody left. There was no team left, and then I took the furlough.
Yeah, so you shut it down for 30 days.
Yes, sir.
Then you came back. So then Bull City, you then made a move from Bull City to?
The South Boulevard, then Bulldogs.
Boulevard Bulldogs.
That's right.
And they went through an identity change.
They did. We did.
Yeah.
The South Boulevard Believe.
Boulevard Believe.
That's
and
right.
So you started there January 1 of 21?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you were there for how long?
I was at the Boulevard until it would have been 9 months.
Okay. So, and then you left at
That's
the end
right.
of 9 months. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But now I am wearing I don't know if you know this.
I noticed.
Now, hashtag outlet life. Tell me about so I'm wearing my outlet shirt, Ashley outlet shirt for you.
I noticed.
Okay. Yeah, because every detail counts. Retail is detail.
I heard that from somebody.
If I recall correctly, I'm sure you've got the stats, story of the month. If I recall correctly, the outlet kind of elevated to stratospheric new heights, broke the atmosphere. So tell us about your tenure at the Boulevard Believe, and tell us why and how it became the Believe.
I had wanted to see maybe a new opportunity, and I'd actually spoke to the then South Regional, Scott Patrick, who is with Qualify now, and I was going to go to what is now Troy and the Bloodline store, and had all but promised to go.
Wow,
and then,
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, most people don't. And then a little birdie, one of my buddies, put the bug in the ear of Rene Bradley. And there might have been some conversations about, hey, I hear you're on the market. Why don't you come out and talk to me? And, Rene, you know how the North and East were at those times. We were very different regions. And I didn't think that Rene would have me. I didn't think that she would even entertain, 6-shooter wild gun guy like me on her team. And went out and talked to her. Okay. And she invited me, gave me a couple of options. And she said, even the way she kind of said it was, South Boulevard. And then I was like, tell me more. And she just told me there was maybe some culture issues there and some, and I'm an outlet, I'm a discount furniture guy. And I'm a small business guy. Yeah. So I said, I'll take that one. And then the rest, not to be cliche, but the rest is history. We got in there. I was instructed to maybe do some restructuring of the sales management because they were not friends. But it just started working and we started running. And then we would end up skipping. It was a silver store when I took it over. We skipped gold to platinum status.
Wow.
By July 1st. And
had we ever had a platinum outlet?
No. I know there wasn't up until that point, and I'm pretty sure in the time I was gone, I checked, there has still not been one. And I take that great pride. But the outlet life idea was born then because everybody seemed to have this difference of an idea of outlets and home stores. And it kind of fit in a little too much to some experiences I've had in my life about who can't do what. And I wasn't with that.
So as a whole, kind of shattered the glass ceiling, shattered the kind of the unbelief. And so when did you change it to the belief?
My mentor, our great coach, Stacy, he's not going to let you change an identity until you show an identity change. So I think I first mentioned it to him probably 2 or 3 months in. I would say probably 2 months in. We officially were able to change it probably 4 months in.
Yeah. I think I remember reading the whole write-up of, it was just a great write-up of what we're going to stand for and and really set the store on a whole new trajectory of growth, which had to be a lot of fun. And it was not just hashtag outlet life, it was also hashtag just because.
Just because. That was from Matty Pittenaro, man.
I'd like to take a little bit of credit for that. I think I used to say
You're right. You tagged it on it big time.
Yeah.
Charlie, you've always been so supportive, man. You were the horns guy when nobody even knew what was happening in the city.
I love you. I love you. So go ahead, Matty P.
Yeah, so the just because became because it was funny that we just wouldn't stop winning and we wouldn't stop topping ourselves. So eventually Matty P just started saying just because, like not for Yodas, not for cheeseburgers, not for accolades, just because. Mm-hmm. And then you, of course, I think that maybe the first time you ever said it, you liked it, and then that took off.
You say things, you can't remember who said it first, what
yeah.
not. But we were going back and forth on that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michael Childers brought you to Broad River Retail. Did you always have your eye on leadership, or did it evolve over time?
I would say leadership found me. I'm the oldest of 6 siblings, mm-hmm. and I grew up in kind of a rough and tumble place. So you had to be a leader, or you might be a follower, mm-hmm. right? The small business furniture, I developed these businesses for retail and kind of created these in a way. And once I got to Broad River, I very quickly realized that my great love, the furniture business that it's part of my identity, wasn't really my great love. My great love was people. And that's what happened when I got to Broad River. I knew that this was it. I was going to want to be a grower and a leader of people as much as I could. And of course, I've been a father for many years. So
yeah, there's so many things are like to know Bradley. We used to call you Sully with the dollar sign.
You know who killed that?
Yeah,
Rene.
Yeah.
She said, "You can come, but no more dollar signs on your name." I said, "All right, Rene." That was it. I felt like that was a great deal for me. I'm always a Sully. I'm a proud Irishman. Yeah. I'm always going to be a Sully. But I promise you, I have not spelled my own name with a money sign since then.
I think I remember the annual awards gala before COVID killed in-person galas, and then we brought them back. You had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun watching you kind of get super hype at the wherever it was, looking out at Panther Stadium.
Yes.
But that's when we had the 2019 gala, and I don't know if you remember that.
Of course,
in January 2020.
Absolutely.
Before,
huge honor.
It was right before COVID hit, which was fun and a lot of fun. You've got your dad, Rosie's your daughter. You grew up in Indianapolis, in the kind of inner city. You love the NBA. You used to play hoops?
Where I grew up, man, street ball was a rite of passage, and I also had the great privilege of growing up in the Catholic Youth Organization. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's from a city is very aware of the CYO. So grew up playing football, baseball, basketball, just really loved sports. But where I grew up, a very urban environment. You know, it was the shadow of downtown Indianapolis, and there's a lot of street ball. Yeah. And I loved playing basketball.
I know you love your Pacers. This might, I don't know when this will air exactly, but the Pacers just upset Cleveland for Game 1.
You call it an upset.
Okay, we go. So how will the Pacers do in this series against Cleveland? We'll see if you're prophetic or not.
I think you know I am.
Yeah.
We've been through these things.
Yeah.
I would say I would love to see the Pacers. I think if I had to bet on it, I would say it's going to go 7. And it honestly could go either way. Okay. But I would love to see my Pacers pull it out.
Survive in advance. All right, let's get back on the tracks here.
Sure.
So you had a lot of success in Bull City. First of all, in Cary, supporting Michael for the first 3 months. Then in Bull City for 13 months. And then you made the move to Charlotte, almost to Columbia, which we just learned. And then you changed the identity from the Boulevard Bulldogs to the Boulevard Believe, skipped a level and went to a platinum level outlet, really set the trajectory. Then we exited, we parted ways for a little bit. And then you were out of the system for a couple of years, I want to say.
It was almost, ironically, my last day at Broad River was almost 8/28 also of 2021.
Okay.
And then.
So nearly 3 years later.
Almost exactly, to the day.
You came back and we asked so your father to Rosie, everyone you're a prolific texter.
You're a great sports buddy because that's all we're ever talking about.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we talk about winning Store of the Month 3 times.
Yeah.
3 times in a row.
I mean,
Albemarle,
so far.
The Albemarle Aces, which is where you are now,
yes,
since your return, and you're like a selling GM now.
Yes,
and so you've talked about, hey, I thought I was a furniture guy, but I had my own identity shift, and I realized now I'm a people guy. I'm a grower and developer of people, and really I might say it's even the underdog. You have this gravitational pull towards the underdog, and where they may not see what the potential they have, and you see it, and you help develop it and nurture it and grow it. And now you take these underdog stores. You did it with Bull City, you did it with the Boulevard Believe, and now you're doing it with the Albemarle Aces. In as much as the Albemarle Aces won Ashley Global Retail North American Store of the Month 3 out of the last 5 months.
Sir.
December, February, and March.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
That's right, sir.
So not January,
not January, not April.
Not April. You
right.
You took the month off or something?
Oh yeah. Sorry to disappoint you, Charlie.
So we'll get back to that. So what was the moment that you knew you wanted to become a GM?
My great friend, like a brother to me, Bobby Hamilton, grew up with me in the neighborhood. We're a neighborhood of furniture guys. Where I grew up. It's very much part of who we are. There wasn't a whole lot of chances there, but there happened to be some small business furniture stores and moving furniture as well. That's where my real heart always started, was moving furniture. But my great friend, Bobby Hamilton, Bobby was the general manager to my sales manager, if you will, for years in Indy. And when I got here and started creating the small business stores for retail, he came down a couple times. He came down here and helped me merchandise the stores and set up the stores, and we even adopted the folder system that he and I had in Indianapolis. And I think that the inspiration that I've always got from him, I've always wanted to be like him. Mm-hmm. It's not just the GM, but I would say that that's really where it first impressed on me is I'd like to be like Bobby.
Okay, and that's great. You grab onto a mentor who's kind of walking ahead of you, and I want to be like that guy, and so I'm going to do what he does.
That's simple.
Yeah. And so what's one early lesson you learned that still sticks with you?
You can't win if you don't fight.
Okay.
So, you might lose.
That's simple.
But you just have to, you have to look like you've been in a fight.
Okay. Well, speaking of fights and losing, life is rarely a straight line up and to the right. People might look at our career and say, oh, you've had success all along the way, and they don't realize I had a lot of stumbles and hurdles along the way. And were there any setbacks or detours along your path to GM?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that my own lack of confidence, which probably isn't something that,
No.
It's true, man. There was so many times that I pigeonholed myself or, messed things up for myself because I just didn't see opportunity and also didn't see like my own capability. My mother has always encouraged me that I have some sort of a special thing about me that makes people be able to rely on me. And I don't know if I grabbed onto that until truly being in North Carolina is when it started with the small business stores for those few years and all that great success, which got me on your guys' radar. But it's been cultivated and it's all been Broad River.
So you might say the detours or setbacks were really a lack of confidence, lack of self-belief.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of those things we can all root back to, those might have came from certain places, but I tell my daughter Rose all the time, she talks to me about college and things like that. And Dad, why didn't you go to college? Well, because I didn't make the right decisions first. Yeah. But second, nobody ever talked to me about college. Yeah. I thought Notre Dame was in a different football league growing up.
Got it. What did you learn in previous roles that helps you lead today?
Moving furniture. Like my love affair with furniture started at 14 years old, moving furniture. Still to this day, it is my greatest thing, most favorite thing to do. Hang a speaker up in the truck, truck's full, job's done. Truck's empty, job's done.
Moving furniture is not my most favorite thing to do.
Well, Charlie, that's why you can charge so much for it. What does a friend not want to help a friend do?
Move. And I've been asked to move. And I'm like, I've been roped into it unknowingly what I was getting roped into. And then 8 hours later, okay, well, that was a Saturday well spent.
I love it, man. It's it's also what helped me so much in the retail furniture business is understanding logistics, understanding that it's not too much to charge for Dash because nobody wants to do it.
Yeah,
so that helps.
Dash, we like to unpack acronyms here.
Sure.
Delivery, assembly, service in your home. We're not just dropping off a box. We're going in, setting it up, assembling it.
And if somebody pushes back, believe me, I got a good close for them.
What is it?
Immediately, I would tell them to pick up that sofa. We've done it several times, but I'm going to have several team members that have worked for me at Broad River right now that will watch this and go, we've seen it. You've done that.
Pick it. Yeah,
go ahead, pick that up.
Sometimes we complicate things. It can
just pick it up. I don't need you to go upstairs with it or take it to the door or pull it off a truck. Just pick it up and stand with it.
Yeah. Okay, so looking back, what advice would you give to yourself on day one?
First day one?
Yeah.
The first day one, the advice I would give to myself is you deserve to be here.
Well, so you asked that as if you might give a different answer for your second day one.
Sure.
What would you give on your second day one?
The first day one would have been you deserve to be here, and the second day one, it would be you earned the right to be back here.
Okay, got it. And what do you believe makes a store team thrive?
Culture is a simple word, but a team needs to be a team. There's no individuals in Albemarle. We are the Aces.
Well, tell me, I know you love to talk about the Albemarle Aces. Walk me through your team. Let's give them a time to give them a shout out.
So first, we'll start with our REM, Angie, spelled Froschauer, but pronounced for sure. So when I interviewed Angie, I read on the application, on the resume, I read it as Froschauer. I grew up with a Froschauer. I said, Angie Froschauer. And she said, no, it's for sure. I said, stop. She was like, no, I'm serious. And I was like, your name is for sure? And she was like, yeah, that should be my name. So that's Angie. And the great thing about Angie is, in Albemarle, there were some struggles in Albemarle in the past, and it's been narrowed in ways to make sure the business could sustain through those times and get to where the Aces have landed now. So the REM there is a little bit different than most REM, like the GM is, and like the SM is. We only have one SM. And with Angie, I told her at Higher Point, you're going to be trained as a sales manager. I mean, I'm going to teach you to sell. I'm going to teach you to close. I'm going to teach you metrics and KPIs. And and all those things. And I'll never forget with Angie, and she loves this story. But I asked her, I said, kind of giving her a description of her job, if you have a salesperson, HFC, HFA is our lingo, it's not following the process and not doing an ops standard of what we need to do, how would you handle that? And she said, well, I'd pull them aside and I'd ask them nicely to go ahead and get this done for me, and that'd be preferred. Something very scripted. And I said, what if they didn't do it? Well, then we'd have a different conversation. And I said, okay, what if I did that? And she said, no different. I said, all right, she's the one.
Got it.
She's an ace for sure. Then you would have Jose Ramon Gonzalez, affectionately known as Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon.
In the store. He is the ace of clubs. The four of us all have a designated ace. Ace of spades. Jose is the ace of spades. He was a car guy. He was the last addition to the sales team. We always say he's the proudest ace. He really exudes what we do, and he even did Stacy's C4 recently, and I even got a shout out from Stacy about how proud he was to show the purposeful reapproach and stuff like that. Jose has a lot of our laughter. I mean, he is just a funny guy, and I think he's the most naturally talented salesperson on the team, including me.
Okay.
Then we have Diana Lula Clark.
Does she go by Diana or Lula?
So here's the thing. When I first was introduced with Diana, and she came to the team, and I looked on her overall paperwork, and it said Lula Diana Clark. Technically, Lula's really her first name, and I said Diana, because I had known her as Diana at first. So I said, why are you going by Diana? And she said, I don't know, I just don't like Lula. And I said, well, I like Lula. I said, Lula's got flavor, Lula's got pizzazz. And it kind of created this identity now. So she'll tell you don't want Lula to come out. So when she gets some apps or drops a big deal, we have a lot of fun with that. But we call Lula the great connector. There'll be a time when she'll hit the door and you'll just see it. You'll know it's coming, and you'll just see her lock in, and you'll get a cross eye contact with me or the team members and be on the mic, and here she goes.
And she's the ace of what?
She is the ace of clubs.
Okay.
Yes.
And after Diana?
There's Jalen Fisher. Jalen Fisher, I call Jalen Fisher Voltron. I think Jalen Fisher has got more individual components of anybody that I've ever seen in this business. And I think that when I got there, Jalen was really upset by the performances and that we'd seen there and the things that had happened. And I told him the first day I got there, make me a list. What's going on here? What's the problems? Why are we not successful? What are your problems or whatever? Boy, Charlie, he made me a list. And I said, I can't change any of that right now. But I promise you, we're going to be the #1 store in the company. We're going to win every award, and we're going to do it together. And here we are.
Okay. And he's the ace of?
Diamonds. He's the value. He's the money.
Now, Voltron's going to have to get that knee checked out. I just saw him in the elevator. He's doing jujitsu.
I know, man. I told him he could pick a less
well, I told him to call
hobby.
me because I just had meniscus tear and surgery. So, but I'm a little bit older than him. So he's too young. Voltron's going to have to get that replaced for me. Okay.
He's a spectacular talent.
Anybody else?
Well, then there's me. So
and you're the ace of?
Hearts.
Ace of hearts. Shocking. That's the most obvious one.
They picked it.
All heart, all gas, all heart. All gas, no brakes. Bradley Sullivan. Okay, let's get back on the tracks here.
Sir.
How do you build trust with your team? Well, maybe it's that Jalen story you just told.
And this can go back to anybody ever worked for me in this industry, but it can go back to Benny Boom Gamble would tell you that I say this. I'm never going to ask you to do anything that cannot be done, and I'm never going to ask you to do anything that I will not do. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's the motto. My team knows if I say it can be done, I'll get out there and do it myself, and if you don't understand, I'll show you again. There's a great accountability for us at the Aces.
So Bradley, what's the hardest part of leadership in retail, and how do you navigate it?
Hardest part of leadership in retail is consistency.
Yeah, just because we talked about you've only won store of the month 3 out of the 5 months, and you had to let down those 6.
I'm sorry to fail you.
What do you mean by what
consistency? To be able to it's live up to your own performance.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, my great friend Mitch Dixon and the Rock Hill Raiders, we did a competition between the two teams, and the competition wasn't us beating each other. The competition was living up to your own numbers. So it was done in April, and the competition was to live up to your Q1 metrics individually as each individual team, and it was pointed in that way. And the reason we did it that way was to prove to everyone, you already did it once, so just do it again.
Yeah.
But that is extremely difficult. We can have outbursts. We all can do great.
Yeah.
But I have no interest in one-time trophies. So it's consistency.
Yeah, I think that's, and sometimes it's good to put in like habits and disciplines and routines to help you not,
Sure.
Be inconsistent, right? Or
Sure.
to measure things like that. Bradley, this has been a great first part of the conversation. Let's make this a two-parter because I know you got a lot more to say, and I've got several more questions here to ask.
I'm super excited.
So I'm gonna break us here for this part. So thanks for joining us here at Stories from the River with Bradley Sullivan in our GM series. We're gonna make this a two-part episode. So come back on next time because we publish every Tuesday and Thursday. We try to bring you the freshest content behind the scenes at Stories from the River, and we're going to continue our conversation with, we won't call you Sully, with Bradley Sullivan.
Call me Sully, just no money signs.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. To watch this episode, go to youtube.com/@storiesfromtheriver. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.